I feel like I should have drank some water or something before going live because now my throat is like immediately scratchy. But it's fine. This Baja Blast will surely help. Anyways, let's get it. So happy to be here today with all my best friends. I should also probably open Spotify as I want to put on some background music. Um, what do I want to listen to? We could listen to like some night mode. I haven't updated this playlist in a while. This playlist is called Night Mode Songs That I Like, and I haven't updated it in a really long time, months, and therefore it doesn't have all of the night mode songs on it. For example, they've released like I feel like an entire album since the last time I uploaded this or updated this. Yeah, rough. There's so many new songs that I have not even heard of before. Awkward. That's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'll go through Night Mode's discography at a later date and we'll put some new songs on the playlist. For now, we'll just listen to some of their older music. We'll listen to some of the throwback songs from Night Mode. Anyways, we are back journeying to the far lands once again. I have to craft another bed because I just used mine last night to sleep the night off. I'm gonna craft a boat as well, real quick. And we'll grab this crafting table up. Wrap it up, pick it up, I don't know. Listen, I just started the stream. Don't expect it to be flawless. Regardless, I'm happy to be back. Why was there such weird, like, block breaking sounds around me? I wonder if the game's glitching out. It's possible. Regardless, we're just gonna keep traveling in a straight line with the goal of one day, someday, eventually getting to the far lands. I'm well aware that's gonna take potentially years, but that's okay. Good things come to those who wait. Oh, you know what that sound was? It was probably the sound of like my boat traveling over dirt. Like even though I was using a boat to traverse through the water, the dirt was still probably scratching the bottom of my boat. Especially because in this old like beta version of Minecraft, you're technically not like swimming in a boat. You're not like driving a boat, I guess. You're genuinely just like still walking, but with the boat underneath you. It's basically like a way of to walk on water. I'm not explaining it exactly correctly as far as like game dev technology and game dev terminology is concerned, but the next time we get in a boat, I can show you exactly what I mean. Because while I'm not explaining it perfectly, the point I'm trying to make is true. It is correct. Oh, hi, sheep. I'm gonna steal some of your wool to make another bed with, pretty please. Honestly, kind of cringe how in the earlier versions of this game, you can only make a bed with wool from white sheep. I mean, I get it, whatever, it's the beta, but like, it makes literally every other color of wool very, very useless, at least for what I'm doing. At least for the purpose I'm playing the game for. Anyways, we have another ocean here, and therefore we can craft another boat, and I'll be able to show you what I was talking about earlier. So, place the crafting table down. Let's make another boat. Thank you. And this is what I mean by the fact that you're not really driving a boat in the Minecraft beta. You're actually just walking on water. because you can see my invisible legs underneath the boat. Like, I have legs. You can see my gold boots right there. Like, my fake pair of legs are in the boat, but my real pair of legs are invisible underneath it. Which is probably why it sounds like you're walking on water if you're swimming in a boat on top of a 1 block tall, like, ocean. Because your invisible legs are touching the bottom of the water. That's kind of funny, actually. I'm surprised it took me this long to notice. I'm surprised I didn't notice that in the first 2 live streams we did. It's kind of funny, though. Sorry about that. My nose is a little sniffly. Wait, is it lagging? When I mute my microphone, did it just lag my stream? I can't tell if it's lagging my stream or not. I'll have to test that out later. That's not really something I can, like, fix while I'm live, but I'll test it out off camera. And then I'll see if I can fix it off camera when I'm not live streaming. But for some reason, it looked like when I muted my microphone, it lagged out my stream, which is really weird if that's the case. I don't know why that would happen. Yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it too much right now. I mean, to be fair, I am using a new mute button for my microphone. So before, when I live streamed, my mute microphone button was just the F5 key on my keyboard. But the problem with that is when I hit F5 in certain video games, it would do something. It would, like, use an ability in like an MMO game, or in Valorant, it would vote yes if there was a active vote going on, which really wasn't helpful if I wanted to vote no for that vote. If I muted my mic, it instantly voted yes, and it was just irritating having my mute button be F5. So, my mute button on stream is no longer F5. It is now my Elgato Stream Deck. I know, crazy. I finally got a Stream Deck, which I feel like is just an obligatory, like, mandatory thing that every streamer has to have. And it took me about 5-6 years later to get one after it was popular. I'm a handful of years late to the party. I'm aware of that. Several years late to the party. But I finally have an Elgato Stream Deck. I got it during Amazon Prime Day because it was really, really cheap. Like, the cheapest I've ever seen them sell the OG Steam Deck for. Because, obviously, they have, like, the giant Steam Deck with 1,000,000 buttons. And then they have a Steam Deck... sorry, I keep calling it Steam Deck. Stream Deck. I don't know how long I've been calling it a Steam Deck for. If I've been saying it this entire time, that's really embarrassing. My apologies. Oops. Anyways, they have multiple Stream Decks, obviously. Like, they have the giant one with a ton of buttons. They have one that's, like, specifically for people who are into, like, audio engineering. And it has different knobs and audio settings on it. They also have, like, a Stream Deck that's super tiny and only has a couple buttons on it. For people who, I guess, don't need a lot of hotkeys and different keybinds. I mean, again, I don't really see the point in buying a Stream Deck. I think I keep saying Steam Deck. What is wrong with me? I'm having a stroke. To be fair, a Steam Deck is a real thing. But I don't know how I'm getting them mixed up. Probably because it's literally 1 letter difference between Steam Deck and Stream Deck. But, like, I'm actually having a stroke right now where I cannot pronounce the word Stream Deck. It just doesn't exist in my head. And instead I keep calling it a Steam Deck. I don't know what's wrong with me. I apologize. You're watching someone have a stroke live on camera. Dude, speaking of the Steam Deck, though, I kind of want a Steam Deck as well. Like, I realize it's pointless to buy a Steam Deck because I have a Nintendo Switch, and they are both so similar. I mean, obviously, the Steam Deck would be helpful if I wanted to play, like, Steam games on the go. And I do have a large Steam library. I own way too many Steam games. But I don't really feel like I need to play any of my PC games or Steam games on the go. Like, most PC games are built and created specifically to be played on a PC. So, unlike the Nintendo Switch, where a lot of those games were designed and built around being played on the go, I feel like a Steam Deck wouldn't really help me. It wouldn't at least be used as much by someone like me. Plus, I just prefer to play games on on my PC, at least Steam games. Even with my Nintendo Switch, now that I think about it, I play most of those games in the dock, like on a TV. I don't really play my Nintendo Switch on the go. I mean, it's nice, it's convenient. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. You know, if you want to add me on Discord, I have my Discord server, but I don't really add people. I also feel like that's the 17th time I've seen this specific chat message in a week. So we're just gonna write that one off as spam. Yeah. Whether it's spam, a scam, or you're just trying to copy the 17 other people who have sent this message in my chat lately, I would advise getting a new message, writing it a little bit differently to differentiate yourself from the other scam messages, you know? On that note, let's just block that person. I hate playing it on the go. When you get used to a 65-inch TV, the Switch screen feels unreasonable. I feel the same way. Like, there was a Mario Odyssey boss that I was playing off stream, like off camera, oddly enough. I think it was one of the bosses that I just never found during my live streams. I never knew it was there, and I found it by accident. However, when I was continuing to play like post-game content off camera, I found it. It was in the Wooded Kingdom specifically. It's that like giant robot flower boss specifically, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I discovered this giant robot flower boss when I was playing the game in my free time. And it looked so cool. Like, it was such a neat concept for a boss. I thought it was like kind of like, I don't know, original. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the idea of making a robot out of plants. Anyways, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that I found this boss while I was playing the game in handheld mode. And I literally stopped what I was doing, paused the game, and waited until I got home, because at the time I was in the car while my wife was driving. I literally waited till I got home. I did not mean to make a boat. Whatever. I crafted the wrong item. And then when I got home from the car ride, I finished that boss battle on a computer monitor. Like the monitor that I usually stream my Nintendo Switch games from. Because why would I do that boss battle in handheld mode? That almost feels like a waste. It feels disrespectful to such a cool boss when I could instead play it on a monitor. And that's such like a funny comparison looking back. Also, I think it's hilarious how I've gotten on this entire side topic, literally sidetracked by the Steam Deck, because I was talking about the Elgato Stream Deck and I mispronounced it Steam Deck. And now I've just stopped talking about the Stream Deck, the original topic, and instead we're talking about Steam Deck now. Is that a 4 tall cactus? I don't know how rare a 4 tall cactus is in the Minecraft beta, but in modern day Minecraft, this is like an impossibility. Is it 5 tall? Okay, it can't be that rare in the beta then. I know for a fact that a 5 tall, naturally spawning, it's 6 tall. It's 6 tall. What the fuck? Anyways, to finish my point, I know that a 6 tall cactus in modern versions of Minecraft is quite literally an impossibility. So is a 5 tall one. However, you can find 4 tall cactuses naturally spawning in the environment. It's just very, very rare. But that's the modern version of this game. I don't know if in the beta version of this game, if like the odds are the same. I don't know if it's the same rarity. Regardless, that's crazy. Like, because I've never played the beta before, that seems like an insane thing to find. Anyways, to finish my point about the Steam Deck, and then we can go back to the original topic of the Stream Deck. But to finish my point about the Steam Deck, I just don't think I would play it, ever. Like, I feel like it would be a really cool novelty item to have. And there's part of me that wants it because I like owning video game consoles. I like collecting video games as a whole. I love collecting, like, specifically physical video game things. Like, sure, I have a pretty sizable Steam library, but I don't really care, nor do I ever brag about it. Like, the games I own on Steam are digital, and therefore I don't really care about them. And I never, like, brag about them. Instead, what I care about is the fact that I own, like, every single Pokemon game, physically. Not counting the Switch games, I should clarify. I own every single Game Boy, DS, and 3DS game. Once the Switch games started coming out and they were, how do I put this nicely? Shit. I stopped buying every single Pokemon game. But, like, that's what I like. I like owning physical video games, and I like owning physical consoles. I don't love having my games stored on a digital server somewhere, like Epic Games or Steam, or I guess a modern day example of it would be cloud gaming. I don't like that. Therefore, if I bought a Steam Deck, it would almost be like taking my entire Steam library and having it kind of physically. I mean, the games would still be digital, but at least I could say that, like, my Steam library was in a physical format, that format being the Steam Deck. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Hopefully it tracks. But the reason I don't think I'll ever buy a Steam Deck, at least not in its current iteration, is because it's very expensive. Very, very expensive. And I just don't think I would ever play it. I don't think I would ever play the Steam Deck, because I never really play my Switch in handheld mode. And I don't think I would really want to play any of my Steam games in handheld mode. There's probably a couple where it'd be cool, like some of the more gimmicky games or games that are simple. But a game like Grand Theft Auto 5, I'm not going to play in handheld mode. At all. Ever. You know what I mean? I haven't played the Switch in over a month, but this past week I've been gung-ho with it, with Monster Hunter. I've heard Monster Hunter's gotten really good lately. So, I haven't played any modern Monster Hunter games, but I played one of the first Monster Hunter games, one of the OGs, and I didn't like it. I got very bored. And maybe it's because I went into it with the wrong thought process. To be fair, this was one of the first Monster Hunter games, so I was a child when I played it, and therefore I had the wrong idea of it because I was a child and I was stupid. But I thought Monster Hunter was going to be like a more action-packed version of Pokemon. And as a kid who loved Pokemon, I really, really wanted to try it. And then when it wasn't really like Pokemon, I got disappointed. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some similarities between the two franchises, but that's probably why I didn't like it. I got bored, and it like didn't live up to the false expectations I set for it in my own head. But yeah, I've heard that the Monster Hunter series has gotten really good lately. I've heard a lot of good things about Monster Hunter in like the modern era. I don't really like what Pokemon has done with the series lately. I agree. 100% agree. The auto battle, XP, and more. Pretty much the only Pokemon games I play nowadays are fan-made games. I totally agree with you, brother. Like, I don't think there's a single game on the Switch that I love. There's one that I like, and it's Pokemon Legends Arceus. But otherwise, all of the games on the Switch are either okay or I don't like them. Like, I just straight up do not like them. We'll go in chronological order, just to give you every example. Pokemon Sword and Shield, the base game, I don't like it. I think the base game is lackluster, it's glitchy, and it under-delivered. Like, Nintendo promised this, this, and that, and the game was less than all of the things they promised. Additionally, Nintendo just lied about the development of the game. They said that they had to remove the national decks because the Switch couldn't handle it. It would be too much graphically. That scared me, I'm not gonna lie.
Old version 2.
Hey, what's up, cool? Yeah, we're playing the beta, version 1.7.3, on a new Twitch series where I try to get to the far lands. Your subscription, by the way, actually scared me. I think that's the first time I've heard a subscription with this new headset, and this new headset's a lot louder than my old one. So that was like a jump scare sound. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield, the development was just a scam. They lied, they said that they couldn't put more than 400 Pokemon in the game because it wouldn't fit on the cartridge and it would be too much graphically for the game to handle. And then when they made the DLC, they added 200 more Pokemon to the game. So like, what are we doing here? Why are we lying? Yeah, I don't know. I got so annoyed by that. Wait. So worried my boat was gonna break. Let me... No! That's my fault, honestly. I should have known that was gonna happen. My fault for never playing the beta, to be honest. I swear, more and more things happen the more I play the beta that just make me laugh. It's not even worth building a boat just to swim that little distance. However, even though I just kind of talked shit on the Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC, I actually like the DLC. Like, I think Pokemon Sword and Shield, that. The DLC, it's okay. It's okay. The next games on the Switch were... What was it? Oh, yeah, Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. 100% bad. Those games were somehow worse than the games they were trying to remake, which is going to be a trend with the Switch Pokemon games. But like, I don't understand how when you make a remaster or a revamp, a reskin, whatever word you want to use, I don't understand how when you remake a game, you make it worse. And that's exactly what Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu were, in my opinion. So those were bad. After that, it was Legends Arceus, right? Did Legends Arceus come first, or Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl? I don't know, they came out like within 2 months of each other, so it doesn't really matter which order I rank them in. Legends Arceus was good. Not great, but good. The only game on the Switch that I think was good. And maybe that's because I really, really liked the open world mechanic and the Pokédex system in that game. the Pokédex system in that game really scratched an itch in my brain. That itch being the completionist side of me. I really love 100%ing things, especially games with like a ton of achievements and quests and side quests. So I like that game. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Bad. Yucky. Gross. Again, how do you remake an older game and the remake is worse? Now, some people make the argument that like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were better than Diamond and Pearl. I just don't see it. At the most, they are equals. But then, if you compare Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl to Platinum, which was of the same generation, also on the DS, and released over a decade ago, Platinum is better than Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. It has more content. It has the better pacing. It just is overall the better experience. And it's just embarrassing to say that out loud. So yeah, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, bad games. And then finally, the last set of games released on the Switch are Scarlet and Violet. Another thumbs down. It's just like embarrassing. That game is so glitchy, so laggy, and so graphically underwhelming for a Switch title that I can't play it without laughing sometimes. I still haven't beaten it on livestream because it disappointed me so much. And I know, like, it's an overused argument and complaint to say that the Pokemon games on the Switch are graphically underwhelming. And sure, graphics don't always matter that much. But when there are games on the Switch that look beautiful, like Xenoblade, or Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, there are a plethora of games that are both high definition and high quality in terms of their graphics. And thus, I believe it gives Pokemon no excuse to look like it's made out of Play-Doh and would be on the N64, as far as the graphics are concerned. Like, some of these games look so terrible graphically. It's concerning. But anyways, I just went on a long rant about Pokemon and I kind of missed some of the chat messages. Yeah. The point I was trying to get to is I just don't like the Pokemon games on Switch, if that isn't immediately obvious, which is why I proudly am a collector of every single Pokemon game that's ever existed before the Switch. After the Switch, I do not own every Pokemon game that's ever existed. I just don't see the point. Anyways, the thing is, I like the older Monster Hunter games over the newer Monster Hunter games. Really? That actually surprises me, because from, like, the people I've talked to in my friend group, as well as I feel like some YouTube videos I've watched recently, people seem so hype about the newer Monster Hunter games. But from what I hear, a majority of people either like the old ones or hate the new ones, or vice versa. That's fair. Especially, and again, I don't know if this is 100% true, but if a game is like going in a somewhat different direction from what it used to be, then you're gonna kind of create that dichotomy amongst your player base, where players love the new games or love the old games. And vice versa, players either hate the new games or hate the old games, depending on what they prefer in their, playstyle and in their type of video game. Very rarely, when a video game does such a hard 180, very rarely does a franchise retain 100% of its player base. And again, I don't know if that's what they did, because I've never really played any of the Monster Hunter games, besides one of them when I was a child. But if that's what they did, it makes sense why their player base kind of got split a little. I mean, that's how I feel about Final Fantasy. When Final Fantasy stopped doing turn-based combat, it completely turned me off to the game. And that's not to say that, like, I'm one of those old heads, one of those type of people who think that turn-based combat is the only type of combat that's good. I don't dislike the newer, modern kind of live action RPG, like where all the action is in real time. I don't hate that. I just hate it for Final Fantasy because for the first 10 games in the series, it was turn-based. It literally was the king of turn-based RPGs. Final Fantasy was turn-based RPGs. If you thought of that genre in your head, 9 times out of 10, Final Fantasy would pop up. If you Googled the term turn-based RPG online, Final Fantasy would probably be one of the first results. And then the fact that they just abandoned that genre of video game felt... I don't know. It felt disingenuous to me. It felt like a betrayal. Sorry, that's a very harsh word. A very, very harsh way to describe it, but it's true. For me, as an OG Final Fantasy fan, it felt like a betrayal. And sure, there are some people who like both styles of Final Fantasy games. They like the turn-based ones, the turn-based Final Fantasies for Final Fantasy 1 through 10, and they like the real-time action Final Fantasy games from Final Fantasies 11 through, I think we're up to 16 now. But me personally, I just don't like any of the modern Final Fantasy games. I don't like Final Fantasies 11 through 16, really. Because it's not turn-based. Because it is real-time action. Now, I do have to make a little bit of an exception for Final Fantasy 11 and 14, because those are MMOs. So immediately, that's a bit of a different discussion. It's a different kind of genre. And I think it's a tad bit more excusable to use real-time action in those games. But you could still do an MMO with like turn-based strategy. In fact, I think that would be kind of a cool idea because not a lot of MMOs exist with that concept. It'd be a fun, neat concept for a game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't dislike modern Final Fantasy games because they're turn-based, or because they're not turn-based action. I don't dislike modern Final Fantasy games because they're real-time action. I like real-time action games. I don't know. The OG Final Fantasy fan in me does not believe that's what the franchise should be. And maybe that's the incorrect way to think about it. Maybe I'm being a little bit too picky. But yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it. Like, I don't hate it because it's real-time action. I hate it because they abandoned their original genre for the franchise, which was turn-based. Yeah, Monster Hunter went in a different direction, and I don't like it. I can understand why new people do. But to me, they removed a lot of what I found so amazing about the game. And that's completely fair. Listen, I'm not going to judge you for that. I just went on the whole rant about Final Fantasy, so it'd be a little hypocritical for me to judge you. Me personally, I just don't fully understand when franchises do that. Or at the very least, I don't understand when a video game franchise makes such a harsh change and then, like, sticks to it. So with the Final Fantasy example, I just don't fully understand why they abandoned turn-based strategy completely. And, like, from what you're describing about Monster Hunter, it seems weird that, like, they would make such a harsh change and abandon the old way of playing the game. Because you're gonna lose fans along the way. You're gonna lose players. I mean, Final Fantasy lost me as a player after Final Fantasy X. So, I don't know. I think what would be, like, a better idea, because obviously, like, games have to modernize, and they have to kind of be updated with the times. And you have to make your game in accordance to what people want. What people want to play, and what modern audiences are going to find appealing. But I think a good example of, like, modernizing your game while also not abandoning the old fans is a franchise like Legend of Zelda. Like, they are constantly modernizing some of the games with the inclusion of, like, 3D games after only making 2D games. But after they made their first couple 3D games, they went back and still made some 2D games. And then, to give a more recent example, they came out with Breath of the Wild, which was like the first true open world Zelda game. And that's a really cool update to the franchise. But they still have not abandoned their like 2D and 3D games. Instead of, making Breath of the Wild, seeing the success of Breath of the Wild, and completely abandoning the older 2D and 3D Zelda games, they didn't do that. They could have. They easily could have just continued to make Breath of the Wild style games, and from here on into the, rest of time, for the rest of human existence, they could have just made open world Zelda games. But instead, the Legend of Zelda franchise continues to kind of make games for all types of players and their audience, and they make a ton of like different genres within their own franchise, which I think is the best way to do it. I think that's the smartest way to go about it. But again, maybe that's my bias showing, or maybe that's just my like personal opinion. I can understand if people disagree with that. Yeah, Monster Hunter went in a different direction. Oh wait, no, I already read that. Oh, this is the message I missed. Arceus was fine, but I still think the battle system was garbage, TBH. There wasn't a whole aspect of how they implemented catching things, then I would hate the game. I still liked how there was turn-based battling in Arceus, but I will give you the point of some of the auto battling in Arceus was not good. I didn't like it. And that's also kind of how I feel about Scarlet and Violet. The auto battling in that game just feels unrewarding. Like, I'm not, again, trying to be this old head who hates any type of change in video games. But if you're going to change a game, it has to be done in a way that, in my opinion, makes sense and is also rewarding for the player. And the auto battling system in modern Pokemon games, it literally just feels like running an idle game in the background. Like the game plays itself. You don't have to do anything, and it's not rewarding. It feels like playing Cookie Clicker instead of playing Pokemon. Like, I don't like it. So I agree with you 100% on that. Don't love the current auto battling system, and that's not to say that like I think auto battling as a whole is bad. I think there's a way they could do it well. They just haven't figured it out yet. I don't think they figured it out yet. Final Fantasy is known for having hard to platinum games, but 15 and 16 were super easy. I didn't even feel accomplished platinuming 15 and 16. Now 10 gave me a sense of accomplishment when I platinumed it. Exactly. And I mean, I think that's kind of... Don't get me wrong, I don't really know much about like platinuming a game because I've never owned a PlayStation. But one thing I can compare it to is Steam achievements. And that same sentiment kind of rings true with Steam achievements. And also just playtime in general. Like, if you compare the playtime of how long it takes to beat old school Final Fantasy games versus new school Final Fantasy games, you get way more playtime out of the old school ones. And sure, some of those hundreds of hours of playtime is going to be like XP grinding, which is not very entertaining. But at the very least, the majority of those hundreds of hours of content is entertaining. And I'm the type of person where I'd rather pay for a game with hundreds of hours of content than a game with like 20 hours of content, which is what a lot of the newer Final Fantasy games have. Like, I'll take a game like Final Fantasy IX, which takes literal thousands of hours to 100%. it takes like 100 hours to beat thousands of hours to 100%. I don't know. I just prefer that. Even if, you know, a little bit of that time is boring and grindy. I don't mind grinding in a game, okay? That's what's wrong with the modern generation. They don't want to get their hands dirty and grind for XP. Oh, that's funny. That's so funny. Oh shoot, I just dropped something off my desk. That's fine. We'll get it back after the stream. I feel like getting out of my chair right now. Why? Awkward. So funny though. With the exception of Final Fantasy 1, that game was pretty short. Yeah, you're right about that. I remember playing Final Fantasy 1 on my like YouTube channel. I don't know if those videos exist anymore. I don't think they do. Pretty sure I've deleted all those videos because that was back when I first started uploading to YouTube, like 8 years ago. And when I first started uploading to YouTube 8 years ago, I didn't really have a proper understanding of how to make entertaining content. Not only that, I didn't know how to make entertaining content, but I also didn't really know how to edit content. So I was uploading like 40-minute long Final Fantasy videos with very little editing. Like, it was 40 minutes of just raw footage, which obviously was boring to watch. Like, 40 minutes of unfiltered turn-based strategy gameplay is not the most appealing YouTube content. So I'm pretty sure I've deleted all of those videos since then. But when I played the original Final Fantasy, it was not my first time playing a Final Fantasy. Like, I had already played Final Fantasy 5, 7, 8, and 9 at that point. So when I played Final Fantasy 1 for my YouTube channel, I expected it to take hundreds of episodes to complete. And I beat it pretty quickly, which shocked me. Sad truth is that most video game companies don't consider the largest demographic. You know what I just realized, by the way? Oh, never mind. I thought my TikTok chat glitched out, but I think it's back. Sometimes my TikTok chat will just stop working, and I have to refresh it, which is so annoying. Like, how is that a common and reoccurring glitch with live streaming on TikTok? At least when I live stream on desktop to TikTok. When I live stream on my phone to TikTok, it works fine. The chat works fine. But the desktop version of TikTok live streaming does not work properly. And the chat constantly glitches out, which is so annoying because then it's up to me to fix it when I should be focusing on like the game or commentating and being an, you know, entertaining personality on stream. But anyways, I think I fixed the TikTok chat. Back to the Twitch chat. The sad truth is that most video game companies don't consider the largest demographic of video game players when making games. They try to make them for younger generations, yeah, to get more people into playing. I don't know if I have like a good example for that, but I can kind of see it. Because obviously the younger generation's going to be the ones playing the most games, but it's not obviously the majority of people that play games. It's going to be the majority of people, you know, who probably spend money, but it's still kind of a bummer to see. Like, it's the same reasoning why you see a lot of YouTubers purposefully cater their content towards children, and it's because you'll make the most money doing so. And therefore, I could definitely see video game companies catering their games towards children. But it's true, most of the newer generation doesn't want to grind and farm in the games. Yeah. And yeah, I agree. I think games are accommodating that. They don't want to get their hands dirty. Back in my day, we had to play hundreds of hours just to level up in Final Fantasy. Back in my day, there were no EXP candies in Pokemon. If you wanted to level up, you had to take that EXP from the soft, moist hands of a liberal Pokemon trainer. What is wrong with me? I'm clinically insane if this live stream has proven anything. The fuck is my problem? Anyways, yeah. I think this is so funny, by the way. This entire topic of conversation was literally a accident. It was an accident because I was talking about the Elgato Stream Deck and I accidentally called it the Steam Deck. And since then, we've just been talking about the Steam Deck and video games. I haven't even gone back to the original topic of conversation. That's so funny. I mean, I can quickly go back to that topic real quick, especially because I never actually figured out if what happened was real or not. So the reason I brought up the Elgato Stream Deck in the first place is because I now have one, finally. I know, I'm like 5 years late to the party, but I finally own an Elgato Stream Deck. And instead of using my F5 key to mute my mic on live stream, which is what I used to use before the Stream Deck, I now just use my Elgato Stream Deck to mute the live stream. I can either mute my voice, or I can mute like the desktop sounds you're hearing. So for example, I can just press deafen, it'll turn the sounds off. I can undeafen, it'll turn the sounds back on. However, what I learned when I did it for the first time today is that I think it lags out my stream when I mute and unmute. I don't know why. It like makes no sense, but I think it lags my stream a little bit, which is so weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Stream Deck is very helpful. Even though I'm, again, like 5 years late to the party, and only just now got an Elgato Stream Deck, like every other streamer has. I feel like literally every single live streamer, at least on like Twitch, has a Stream Deck. But now that I have one, it's been very helpful, especially with the different hotkeys and macros that I can set up with it. But it is a little concerning. That's the word I'll use. It's a little concerning how when I mute my mic with the Stream Deck, it lags out my stream. Feels a little counterintuitive to its core purpose. Yeah, I usually don't like golf games, but I've loved Mario Golf in the N64 because of the unlockables. You've had to play a lot to unlock them, but now with like new games, everything's unlocked right away from the moment of purchase. It's either unlocked right away, or you can just pay for it with DLC. We love that pay-to-win culture of modern video games. Yeah. I don't know. Me personally, I'm definitely growing tired of a lot of like modern video game tropes, which is why lately I've been playing a ton of older games, or at the very least like throwback games. Probably why I'm playing on Minecraft beta version 1.7.3 right now. A version of Minecraft that was released almost 20 years ago, which is insane to say out loud. But yeah, I don't know. I just definitely growing tired of some of the modern gaming trends. Thank you. I'll be taking my crafting table back, pretty please. Is there a hole in that mountain? Oh, there is. That's actually kind of cool. Little archway right there. Do we keep going with the boat if we go to the left. How much longer does this ocean go on for? I'm curious. Because, like, the boat is just a far faster way of traveling than going on land, so if I can avoid land at all possible while trying to stay in a relatively straight line, so we're, you know, constantly heading towards that 15 million block goal. Because realistically, any deviation from the line, left or right, is just adding time to this challenge. So I shouldn't be going to the left here, but in the boat, it's kind of worth it. Because we're a lot faster in this boat than we are on land. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. It just feels like it. Feels faster. No, give me my boat back. Give me the blocks back, at least, that I had to craft it with. Come on, thank you. Oh, another ocean. That excites me. I don't know if it's worth crafting a boat, though, if we can just walk in a straight line here. I still think it's crazy we found that 6-block tall cactus. I'm still thinking about it. Like, I don't know if it's statistically insane. Like, I don't know if that's statistically rare because we're playing in the Minecraft beta. But yeah, I don't know. This is weird. It feels crazy, nonetheless. Like, my brain was broken. I've never seen that before in Minecraft. Alright. Oh, I entered a giveaway and ended up winning. So I got the game Skull and Bones for free. The game's a bit clunky, but overall fairly fun. I feel like I've heard of this game. We might have even talked about it on stream, but I, for some reason, can't picture it in my head right now. I don't hate fetch quests. I've played a lot of them in the past, especially in the game Warframe. And I love Warframe, but not so much for the fetch quests. I like Warframe for the, well, for the fact that it's free, and that there's a lot of customization with your character and your weapons. Like, you can mod out the weapons to really do whatever you want in that game. Like, if you want to build a weapon that kills people with poison damage, you can do that. If you want to build a weapon that has really, really high crit chance and does a lot of, like, critical damage, you can do that. Or if you want a weapon that electrifies people, so when a bullet hits them, they get stunned by electricity, making them a much easier target to hit because they're standing still, shocked, stunned, paralyzed by the electricity, you could do that. Honestly, that's one of my favorite things to do in Warframe, is build a weapon that does electricity damage, because then my enemies are so easy to hit because they're standing still, paralyzed. But yeah, I've done a lot of fetch quests in Warframe. Not the reason I like the game, but I can put up with it. It's pretty much a clone of Sea of Thieves. Oh, yeah, I definitely have heard of this game then. I don't know how much I would like it, though, because I'm not the biggest Sea of Thieves fan. But I also don't dislike Sea of Thieves. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like, Sea of Thieves for me is just kind of like, okay. It's not a bad game. It's just not really my type of game. It doesn't really scratch that itch for me. I like weapons that do a lot of crit damage. Same, brother. There's a weapon in Warframe called the Soma. And not only does it do a ton of crit damage, but it also has one of the coolest, like, weapon magazines I've ever seen. I just think it's so neat. Like, and like little cosmetic things for that, like that, appeal to me so much. Like, I love how in Warframe there's so many different designs for weapons, and they have such cool quirks to them. Like that Soma weapon I was talking about, it does high crit chance, and the magazine looks really, really cool. And then there's one weapon in Warframe where when you're scoped in, it's a sniper, but when you're unscoped and just kind of playing hit fire with it, when you hit fire, it's a shotgun. And like that's a lot of fun because it also just makes sense and is really really helpful in the game. Because if you're going to be scoped in, you're probably going to be fighting someone long range, and you're going to want a more sniper centric bullet. But then when you unscope and you hit fire, you're probably going to be close range, and you're going to want a more shotgun styled bullet. Like I really love the weapon, I guess, variety and diversity in Warframe, as well as the character diversity. Like some of the characters in that game are so cool. Like you have basic characters, you have characters where their whole thing is like, oh, I heal people, and that's helpful if you want a healer on your team. But then there's other characters in Warframe where they literally can create like different dimensions that you can use to, you know, shield yourself, because if you're in a different dimension than the enemies can't hit you. Or you can put the enemies in different dimensions, which allows you to isolate those enemies so you can attack them kind of one by one. And when you're like fighting a horde, instead of all of the enemies in that horde shooting you, you can just put yourself in a dimension with one of the enemies. And there's even like crazier things in that game with some of the things you can do with those characters. Like I don't even know how to describe some of it. And also, there's just characters that are super helpful because it is admittedly a little bit of a grindy game. However, there's a character in that game that literally increases your chances of getting items dropped. So when you're trying to grind a specific item, you just can play this character and it speeds up the process a ton. One of my other favorite characters is Neja, whose whole gimmick, like one of their abilities, is you throw this like ring around, and every enemy the ring kills drops healing. So you can basically just infinitely heal yourself as long as you don't get one shot. Not only that, but the same character, Neja, has a shield that basically grows the more damage you take. So when you first use the ability, your shield spawns, and the more damage you take in this short duration of time while it's spawning is the bigger your shield becomes. And then after that time, it stops collecting shield, and then you will lose shield if you take damage. Hopefully I explained that properly, because I realize it's a little confusing. But what's really cool about that ability is, like, if you use it right before you start a boss fight, the boss will, like, attack you, making your shield really, really big. And then you'll have that shield for the rest of the boss battle. Because it's an exponential kind of growth. Like, I've seen some crazy Neja shields. There's a Twitch clip specifically of my friend Zach playing the game, and he got his Neja shield all the way up to like a literal like infinite number, to the point where it couldn't even display on screen. So if you're smart about when you use the shield, aka you just use it right before you're about to take damage, and you use it in that little window of time where your shield grows the more damage you take, if you take a lot of damage, you're gonna have infinite shield. And yeah, sure, after that window of time expires, any damage you take goes away from the shield and you lose shield. But if you get an infinite shield, that like doesn't really matter. I don't know. It's such a cool concept. I really, really like it. Skull and Bones has single player mode, while for the longest time Sea of Thieves didn't. And I think that was one of the reasons I didn't love Sea of Thieves. Because I don't always have like friends to play games with nowadays. When I was back in like high school and college, my friends were online all the time. But now that we're all adults, like it's more often than not, I'm going to be live streaming by myself. Obviously, I still play some games with friends, and I still live stream multiplayer games here and there. But that's only when me and my friends can get our availabilities to line up, when we can all be on the same schedule. And I think that was another reason I didn't love the Sea of Thieves, sorry. Now, if Skull and Bones has a single player and a multiplayer, I think that's the best of both worlds, and I could maybe enjoy single player, but again, I think it depends, because I didn't love Sea of Thieves. Maybe I just don't love being a pirate on the Seven Seas. I don't know. Maybe I'm not into sailing. Who knows? Can't fully describe it. That's why I didn't like Sea of Thieves. Most games I didn't have people to play with, so... Games where I can play solo are treasure in my eyes. 100% agree. I 100% agree. And plus, like, I feel like I almost have trust issues with multiplayer games. And what I mean by that is, like, I'll start multiplayer games with my friends sometimes, and then we'll just never finish them because of a difference in schedule, where, like, one of my friends stops caring about the game, stops playing the game. And I know that sounds like I'm basically putting the blame on other people and not myself, but it's kind of true. For example, like, almost every Minecraft SMP I've been a part of has died off, with one exception. There was one Minecraft SMP I was a part of where it was active the entire time, and when it ended because we felt like there was nothing else we could do, and the server had reached kind of its end goal. But that was the only time I've ever played a Minecraft SMP where it felt like the server was active from start to finish. However, the like 7 other times I've played a Minecraft SMP with people, it dies off. And that's usually because people get bored of playing Minecraft. I mean, this game is literally known for having its kind of like 2-month ovulation period. That's a weird way to describe it, but it's true. Like, this game is known for people being addicted to it for 2 months and then not playing it for 5 months, and then being addicted to it for like 3 months and then not playing it for 2 months. And then someone will play it for like 2 weeks and then not play it for a year. That's kind of a weird, like, just truth about Minecraft. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if this game like has its own little disease. It's a parasite that you contract when you play Minecraft, but that's just how a lot of the player base is. And therefore, when I would like play Minecraft SMPs, or I would get invited to them from other people, because a lot of these SMPs were not Minecraft servers that I started. I played on a ton of other SMPs that I got invited to and were hosted by other people. They would all die off because people would stop playing the game. And it was so funny because you would think, especially the ones that were hosted by other people, you would think that at least the hosts would still be playing on the SMP. But there was one SMP I was playing on, I'm gonna blank on the name. Actually, I can tell you the name right now because I'm still in the Discord server. And the name was the same as the Discord server. It was the Lost World of Enigmas. I was playing on that SMP, and literally it was active for maybe a week. Maybe 1 week. And then everyone stopped playing. Even the host of the SMP, the person who was paying for the server, paying real world money, real dollars for this Minecraft server, stopped playing on the server. And after like a week, I was one of the only people playing. And this is why I know it sounds like I'm being egotistical when I say like, oh, you know, when I play a multiplayer game, I'm abandoned. But it's because usually I am. Usually, if I'm playing on a multiplayer server, or if I'm playing a multiplayer game, it's 9 times out of 10 more likely that the game is going to not be beaten, or the series that I'm doing on Twitch is going to die off because the other person stops playing. Another example would be when I was playing the... Now this is a while ago, so it's maybe not the best example. But I was playing Minecraft Skyblock. Like, I was trying to play a multiplayer Minecraft Skyblock series, and the person I played with stopped playing. So it went from a multiplayer Skyblock series to a single-player Skyblock series. And that just felt like awkward, so I stopped playing. Is this gonna damage me? Okay, it didn't. I wasn't sure because it was only 1 block deep if I would take damage in the Minecraft beta. But yeah, like, I don't know, man. Nowadays, I try to avoid multiplayer games unless I know for sure that the people are going to commit. Because I don't want to start another series on Twitch where it just dies off halfway through. Anyways, we should start a game night like once a month where we play a multiplayer game together. I would be so down. Especially because I feel like there's a lot of multiplayer games that I would need like a consistent person to play with just to beat the game. Like, I own so many multiplayer games that I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to play. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to beat them because I don't have anyone to play with. So I'm definitely down. Yeah, it makes me sad though, thinking about all of the old like Minecraft SMPs I was a part of that don't exist anymore, because I had a lot of fun on those servers. I do kind of miss it. It makes me very nostalgic. Yeah. Especially like looking back at some of the YouTube videos I made of those. The good old days. Good old days, if you want to call it that. Hey, the days were definitely good. The YouTube videos, not so much. My editing style was pretty much non-existent, and the videos were somewhat boring. At times, very boring. No, I totally agree. Like, at the very least, I definitely need to branch out. I mean, this is something we talked about in the last Minecraft Farland stream. Oh no. Thought I lagged out for a second. Something I talked about in the last Minecraft Farland stream, but I want to like play more games. And that would include like a lot of the multiplayer games I own. I'm vibing out to this music, if you can't tell. But, like, I'm just one of those people, I guess, who I struggle with trying new things sometimes, which is why I have so many unplayed games. Because as much as I want to play those games, I also fully admit that I am perfectly happy and sometimes maybe too complicit in just playing the same 2 or 3 games on stream over and over and over again. Like, I don't like that fact about myself, when I can admit that it's a true fact. Like, instead of playing one of the hundreds of unplayed games I own, I live stream games like Minecraft and Counter-Strike over and over and over again. Two games that I've played probably way too much throughout my life. I've live streamed Minecraft and Counter-Strike hundreds of times. I don't need to keep playing them. But I keep coming back to them because I know I like the game. So I know it's gonna like provide me with an experience that I enjoy, for the most part. I don't know, sometimes Counter-Strike It makes me an angry person. But that's just the nature of a shooter game. That's just kind of how FPS games work. They're rage-inducing. But I like Counter-Strike because I'm good at Counter-Strike, and I've spent a lot of time playing it, so it's like... It's kind of like the sunk cost fallacy at this point. I've spent all these years playing Counter-Strike. If I stop playing now, it's gonna feel like I wasted my time. But going back to the original point, like, instead of playing new games, I'm always streaming the same handful of games that I've streamed since the beginning, which is not, like, the best way to live your life, I'll be honest. And I definitely need to break free from that trend. I need to find a way out of that trend. I gotta warn you though that I don't do first-person shooter games. That's fine. I don't think there's many multiplayer first-person shooter games that I own in the first place. Like, yeah, I can't think of any actually that are like story-based. Obviously, I have like Counter-Strike and Overwatch and stuff, but I don't really count those. Like, I'm talking multiplayer games that have like a story, or a multiplayer game that it's been sitting in my Steam library for months unplayed. Those are the type of games that I really want to start playing with people on stream. And I don't really have any of those that are FPS games. Also, I realized that we should probably restart our game. This is something we've learned from the first couple streams, but this game, at least in the beta, the Minecraft beta, has a very bad memory leak issue. So the more you play it, the slower and laggier the game becomes. And therefore, to kind of fix the lagging that we're getting, I'm gonna have to restart the game. Hopefully, I can get my Elgato to stream capture it though. There we go. That is just a very sad truth about how this game works. Also, for some reason, every time I restart this game, it resets my sound setting. All of my other settings stay the same, but my sound setting gets turned back up to 100 every single time I play, which is really annoying because this game is very loud on 100% sound. Oh boy. Yeah, we've been live for over an hour, so it makes sense that the game is starting to lag. It's got about the same memory leak problem as Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And those are modern games. I don't know if you experienced the memory leak problem in Scarlet and Violet, but it was bad. You played that game for multiple hours in a row, it would just start breaking. And sure, apparently they've fixed most of the glitches by now. They've patched the game to a playable state, but I still think it's laughable that Scarlet and Violet was released with such, like, abhorrent issues. Like, something as simple as memory leak should not exist in a AAA game. It should not exist in a Pokemon game, because Pokemon is the most profitable franchise of all time. At least video game franchise. Like, what? How's your game this broken when you have the most money in the world? Insane. However, for the Minecraft beta, it's a little bit more reasonable that there's some glitches and a bit of a memory leak issue. I can forgive it, you know? Did that dog just drown itself? Okay, good. Scared me for a second. See, every time I see a wolf, literally every time I see a wild wolf in this game, it makes me sad. Because when I see a wolf, it reminds me of the dog that we tamed on episode 1, day 1, whatever you want to call it, of this series. We had a companion we had a dog friend. His name was Steve. However, I had to leave Steve in a little house that I built for him. At least I think I built him a house. I'll be honest, I might have just left him out in the open. Regardless, I left him at one of my shelters. I had him stay seated right on top of a bed that I used to sleep the night off. Because as much as I appreciated having a dog next to me as a, you know, a physical, emotional, and just comfort support animal, like having that dog really was the companion I needed for this series. I realized I could not keep him because he kept taking fall damage, and it was using up all of my cooked pork chop. I had to use literally all of my supplies to keep the dog alive, and I was starting to get worried that eventually the dog would just be a liability. Or worse. I was worried about a far worse hypothetical happening, where he accidentally jumps into lava and kills himself. And that would have actually broken my heart. Especially once we get to the point in this series where we've traveled millions of blocks. We've been doing this for hundreds of live streams. And if my dog just killed himself by accidentally jumping into lava, it would have crushed me. It would have probably been the second time ever I cried on live stream. The first time being when I played What Remains of Edith Finch. I almost mispronounced the name of the game. No, so far that's the only time I've actually died on live stream. Died on live stream? Cried on live stream. I need to go to bed. I actually regenerated. I respawned live on Twitch. No, the only time I've ever cried on live stream was when I played the game What Remains of Edith Finch. And I don't even know if I would count that as crying, because I kind of just teared up. Like, I didn't actually bawl my eyes out. I wasn't, like, sitting here wheezing, making, like, embarrassing breathing noises. I just got very teary-eyed, and I had to, like, wipe away those tears at the end of the game, because it was a very sad game. That game has some silly moments, but I think the silly moments almost make the sad moments, and specifically the sad ending, even harder. Because it gets your defenses down, you know? With each, like, kind of silly joke that happens, you lower your defenses to the point where you don't have your guard up at all. And then the sad moments just broke me. Sounds like you needed a piggyback ride that makes everyone feel better. You're not wrong. Not wrong. But yeah, so far that's the only time I've cried on Twitch, and if I had a dog companion with me on this journey, and he dies in some way, which it truthfully felt like it was going to be inevitable. Like, it really felt like he was going to die at some point. Literally, I only had him for the first live stream for 2 hours of this 1,000-hour challenge. And he had jumped off so many cliffs, I had to keep healing him. And I was just worried that he was eventually going to jump off a cliff and die, or jump into lava and die, or somehow drown himself. So, yeah, I had to have my dog companion stay back at one of my previous shelters. And, you know, maybe after we complete this challenge, we'll go back for him. And we'll grab him. But for now, I'm going to have him wait there. As sad as it is that we had to leave our dog back at home for this, and he can't be with us, because truthfully, I do think having a dog companion with me on this journey, like someone that would follow me around and stay with me, would not only help, like genuinely help me mentally, but it'd also just be fun for like the content. We'd have someone to talk to, make jokes with, especially when like there's no one in my chat, because as a small streamer, that happens. There are oftentimes streams where I have no one in the chat, so I can just talk to the dog. I mean, I would probably look like a crazy person doing that, but at least I could keep myself company. You know? Why not? But as emotionally comforting the dog would be, it would be emotionally devastating if he died, and I don't think it would be worth it. Like, his companionship would not be worth the turmoil, the loss I would feel if he died. I talk to myself all the time on gaming. I have better conversations with myself than other people. That's true. I can relate to that heavily. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There's some of my friends who I love to play with. But then there's some of my friends that I kind of, I won't say purposefully play with off camera, but I just don't stream with them because I feel like, you know, the conversations are maybe not the best for live streaming. I have better conversations with myself. Oh, I realized I missed one of your chat messages. Give me a second. Hey, just like that, we got another bed. I need to stop biting my lip. It's a bad habit, I'll admit. It's just like, it's one of those habits I can't break. For example, when I was younger, I used to like incessantly bite my fingernails. And I've gotten to the point now in adulthood where I just don't do that anymore. But biting my lips, especially whenever I feel like my lips are chapped, that's, oh, it's almost an impossibility for me to not bite my lips. I'll admit. I either bite my lips when they're chapped or when I'm stressed. It's like a stress reliever for me. That's kind of what biting my fingernails was. I don't know how I mispronounced the word fingernails. I like made up a word. But yeah, biting my fingernails was like a stress reliever for me when I was a kid. And thankfully I don't do it anymore because that's terrible for you. That's how you get like hangnails and fuck up your cuticles. But anyways, I'm comparing multiplayer games we both own on Steam. Fall Guys, Among Us, Golf with Friends, Contagion. I'm surprised you have Contagion. Contagion's such a throwback. I haven't even thought about that game in years. I haven't played that game in years, obviously. But funnily enough, I used to actually live stream that game. Back when, you know, I was in high school, and all of my friends would, you know, play games every single day with me. Because we would just go home from school and immediately play games. Because what else was there to do? Go home from school, play video games. That was it. Your entire life was school and video games. But back in high school, I used to live stream Contagion with my friends. Content warning. Apparently I have Half-Life, which I didn't know I had. Coromon, Old School RuneScape, Trackmania, Vampire Survivors. Is Vampire Survivors a multiplayer game? Really? I didn't know that. Really? Dude, that's actually dope. It's a multiplayer game. That's so funny. I had no clue. I'd be so down to play Vampire Survivors together. Because I got that game mostly because I thought it was like funny. But I also thought it was like genuinely a good game. Like I don't want to sound disrespectful when I call it funny. I mean, it is funny, but it is also a good game. And from the YouTube videos I've watched about it, it seems like the best kind of like idle game. Even though it is an idle game, you can't play it AFK like a true idle game. Like, I feel like the genre idle should only be applied to games where you can play them while AFK. But that genre is oftentimes outstretched to games like Cookie Clicker, where you can't go AFK, but you basically are AFK. You're just clicking a button or clicking on your mouse over and over again. You're not actually doing anything else. You don't really have to make any decisions. You don't really have to use any brain power to play the game. Like, a game like Cookie Clicker literally just requires you to click. So I think that counts as an idle game. And Vampire Survivors is like the least applicable of the definition, but some people still call it an idle game. Anyways, I got off topic. The reason I got it is because I thought it looked like the best version of an idle game. Like, the best rendition of an idle game. And again, I don't consider it an idle game, but a lot of people do, which is why I'm saying that. I think Vampire Survivors is like the best way you could make an idle game. But yeah, I'd totally be down for Vampire Survivors sometimes. Sorry, I just choked on air. Let me take a drink real quick. I would 100% be down for Vampire Survivors. I would also maybe be down for We Were Here Expeditions, but I wanted to play it with my wife first, and then afterwards I would maybe be down to play it with someone else, specifically like you if you want. So I think you're probably the only person who I have on Steam who also owns the game. But yeah, I wanted to play with my wife first. Obviously, that would be like an off-camera thing, so whenever it happens, and then afterwards we can live stream it together. But I thought that would be like a fun game, especially considering it like doesn't rely too heavily on the other player being like great at video games, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be too mean here, but like, my wife is not going to be beating Elden Ring anytime soon, you know what I mean? So when I play a game with her, it has to be a game that can suit her playstyle. That's why we play a lot of Stardew Valley together. And I love Stardew Valley. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Definitely top 5. Yeah. Dude, you know what we should do sometime? As like a live stream? We can make it like a fun live stream. Maybe if we like hit 1,000 followers, or if we like get a subscriber number specifically, we could rank all the video games I've ever played. Or at the very least a top 100. Because ranking all the games I've ever played is going to be difficult. It won't be impossible, because I actually have a journal in an Excel like spreadsheet of every single game I've ever played. So I know every game I've ever played. I mean, I am very likely missing a couple from my childhood because I only made this Excel spreadsheet like within the last year, and therefore a lot of the games on that spreadsheet were before I made it. Like, it's entirely possible that there are some games missing from the list, which come on, stop. Why? Oh my god, sticky keys. I literally almost died because of sticky keys. What the heck, bro? That was terrifying. How do I want to reorganize my inventory here? I actually don't even know. Keep the iron there. I don't really want to... I don't know. This is good enough. I don't think it matters too much how I organize my inventory. Like, I don't even need this much pork chop now, because I'm playing in peaceful mode. That was one of the suggestions I got, by the way. In the first live stream, episode 1, we were playing in normal. And I wanted to keep playing in normal because I wanted the threat of mobs to always be looming in the background. I didn't want to make the game easy. But we are now playing in peaceful mode because it's actually less laggy. Like, if you constantly have mobs spawning around you or like underneath you in caves, the game is way more laggy than it needs to be. Especially for a challenge like this, where the whole point is to walk in a straight line. I don't need the game to be lagging. So we're playing in peaceful mode now. Hiccups, sorry. And specifically in peaceful mode, you regenerate health like instantly. The second you take damage, you start regenerating health again. So I don't need this food, really. Yeah, I don't need it. In fact, I could probably use one of these slots for a boat. Just always have a boat in my inventory. But anyways, to go back to what I was saying, yeah, I have this Excel spreadsheet of all the games I've ever played. And then each column after it. So the first column is just the games on a list. And then every column after that is like a playthrough I've done in that game. So there are games like Pokemon Ruby that I've beaten like 3 times, so it has 3 entries in the journal, if that makes sense. There are 3 columns that have been filled out. And then I write a little like note. You know what I mean? Like an actual journal entry. I write a note in the Excel cell of that playthrough and like what I did in that playthrough. So I have this list of every game I've ever played. However, I don't know if ranking it would be that entertaining, because a lot of the games on there are just like complete BS. I've played this one series on Steam called 100 Cats like 10 times. I've played 10 of the games in the series. And the whole point of the game is it's basically like, it's like one of those old school like picture finder games where all you do in the game is try to find pictures of cats hidden in an image. So you'll have this big picture. Within the big picture, you're supposed to find smaller pictures of cats. And I fully admit that that's like kind of the silliest game to rank, because it's quite literally just like a waste. It's not a waste, but you know what I mean. It feels like a waste. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how I want to organize my inventory, which is why this is taking me a hot second. Okay. We'll have a lot of slots open for wool and wood. But then what do I want to do from here? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter what I do from here. I'm just going to completely rearrange my inventory. Apologies. That's why I'm getting a little distracted from the topic of conversation. But yeah, I have like a lot of games that I played that aren't really video games, or they just like would be silly to rank. Another example would be Cookie Clicker. How do you rank Cookie Clicker amongst the hundreds of video games I've played? I don't know, because like realistically, it's not a good video game. But I also kind of loved playing it as a kid because it just helped me pass the time. Like, it was silly, but it really helped me pass the time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I'd rank a game like Cookie Clicker. So maybe it would be a little bit more entertaining if we did a live stream where I like rank all of the video games I've ever played. Or, sorry, not that. I'm so stupid. I literally said the opposite of what I wanted to say. It would be more entertaining if we did a live stream where we ranked like the top 100 games out of all the games I've ever played. And we just did like a top 100. And then we could kind of like update that top 100 every year. Almost like a power rankings. I could update my top 100 to show you like which games have moved up, which games have moved down, and which games have been knocked out of the top 100 by new games that I just played that year. I actually like that idea a lot. I think we're cooking, boys. We're kind of cooking. I like that idea a lot. Anyways, let's continue on with our journey here. Gotcha. I've never played that game before, but if you don't think replaying it would ruin the experience, I'm all here for playing with you. I've watched clips of it on YouTube and TikTok. I purposely have not watched like an entire Let's Play of that game because I don't want to spoil it for myself. But it seems like a game that's like worth replaying with other people because each person you play it with is kind of a different experience. So I don't think it would ruin it. But I could be wrong because I haven't played the game yet. I haven't watched the entire game yet. I haven't seen the entirety of the story. So I fully admit that I could be wrong. I also have a catalog of games I've played, and the ones in my backlog are just like you. But just like you. See, I have a separate list for games in my catalog. So I have an Excel file of the games I played, and then a Word document of all the games in my backlog. And then when I finally play one of those games from my backlog, I move it from the Word file to the Excel file. It basically moves from one list to another. I made it within the past couple years. Definitely missing some completed games from my childhood. Yeah, same here. Sometimes, like, I'll be driving to work and I'll remember a game that I played when I was a kid that isn't on my current list. It isn't in the current, like, Excel file that I use as my journal. And I'll have to, like, write it down. I'll write it down in the Notes app of my phone just to remember for later to add it to that Excel file. I have 416 games marked as completed, but I know that number is actually higher. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't even know if I've completed 416 games, bro. I definitely own that many games, but I have not completed that many games. And that's something I need to change, you know? That's going to be my mid-year resolution. New Year's resolutions are out. All right, they're old-fashioned. We're not doing New Year's resolutions anymore. Instead, we're having, like, midlife crisis. Mid-year resolution. My mid-year resolution is to finally beat some of those games that I own. I don't do every playthrough like you. I just mark the first 2 playthroughs. Anything more than that, I don't mark. That's completely reasonable, because my journal is almost silly with some of the playthroughs I have marked in there. Like for Minecraft, I have just playing the game normally as an entry, because I've pretty much done everything there is to do in survival mode. I have hardcore mode as an entry. I have PvP minigames as an entry, specifically things like UHC, survival games, Skywars, stuff like that. I have non-PvP minigames as an entry, so things like Spleef, parkour, or like block hunt. And then I have Skyblock as a 5th entry. So I have 5 entries for Minecraft, which is arguably unnecessary. I can admit that. But yeah, that's maybe just me being a little too much. I'm doing too much. I can admit that. Hey, hello from Beeville, Texas. I don't know when this TikTok chat got posted. I'm so sorry if I missed your TikTok chat. I've been so distracted by this conversation, I did not react, but hello. I feel so bad. See, I talked about this last live stream, but it was the opposite effect. Whenever one of my chats is like really active and popping off, and the other chat is like dead, I kind of stop looking at the other chat, which is terrible. I should not do that. That is my own fault. That's a problem that I need to fix. But in my last live stream, it was the TikTok chat that was popping off and like being really, really active, and no one was talking in the Twitch chat. So then when someone finally posted something in the Twitch chat, I like didn't see it for 5 minutes, and I felt so bad. And this is kind of the opposite. I am so sorry that I didn't see your message. Person from Beeville, Texas. Beeville, Texas sounds dope. I like bees. Dude. I don't know how this just reminded me of what I'm going to say next, because it's not related at all. But I read the words Beeville, Texas, and it made me think of honey, you know, because of bees. And then I started thinking about the fact that I went to the grocery store today and forgot to get honey, which is something I need. We don't have any honey in the house. But then I also thought about the fact that while at the grocery store today, I bought yellow dragon fruit. And now I want to go eat that. I want to just go eat yellow dragon fruit. We're about to end the live stream just so I can go eat yellow dragon fruit. I don't think I've even talked about this yet on live stream, but yellow dragon fruit has quickly become my favorite fruit to eat, like either for breakfast or as a snack. It's so good. It's like a sweeter, better, just overall more delicious version of kiwi. And that's how I would just describe dragon fruit as a whole. So like regular dragon fruit, the dragon fruit that looks like a pinkish red color, it's also very similar to kiwi, but I would argue it's not as good. I think it's worse than kiwi. It's just a little bland. Doesn't have much of a flavor. But like yellow dragon fruit is so sweet. It almost tastes like a candy. I love it. Like, it's so good. And I bought some at the store today. So I need to go eat that as like my midnight snack after this stream is over. I mean, it is literally midnight right now, so it'd be fitting. But yeah. I don't think I've gone on a rant yet on camera about how much I love yellow dragon fruit, and it's become my new obsession. And that sounds like the most pointless thing to rant about, but it quite literally has changed my life. Like, I already am a big fan of fruit. Fruit has been like a way I've been trying to eat healthier, is like snacking on fruit. I'll buy like pears and cantaloupe and watermelon and stuff like that. But yellow dragon fruit has completely changed the game for me. It's just changed my life. I love it. Which is also kind of like crazy to say because regular dragon fruit is so boring in comparison. Like regular dragon fruit, like I said before, it literally just tastes like a more bland, flavorless version of kiwi. It has a very similar texture and presentation to kiwi, where it has like the seeds in it. But yeah, I don't know, regular like pink, reddish dragon fruit, it's just kind of bland. But yellow dragon fruit it's like a better version of kiwi, and I already like kiwi, so no complaints from me. I'm making some beef ramen noodles. This conversation made me hungry. It's funny you say that because I quite literally have a whole new pack of beef ramen noodles that I bought at the grocery store today. That like cheap instant ramen that you can get, which nowadays isn't even cheap. Like, it's crazy how expensive things are at the store. And it's crazy how expensive things have gotten just within a couple years. Like, this is something I was pointing out to my wife when we were at the grocery store today. But before, we would buy soup. And the type of soup that I really, really like is Progresso soup. But today, when I was at the store, I couldn't like justify buying it. So I really, really like specifically Progresso Italian wedding soup. And the reason I'm laughing is because I know I've talked about this before in live stream. I've gone on many, many rants before on camera about my love for Italian wedding soup. So the fact that I'm talking about it yet again is kind of embarrassing. I really need to stop talking about Italian wedding soup on live stream. But I would always buy Italian wedding soup. And when I first moved in with my wife, about 2.5 years ago, the Progresso Italian wedding soup was like maybe $1.99. And now that same can of soup costs $3.50. Like, that's insane. And that's just 2 years. Like, in just 2 years, the price has gone up that much. That's crazy, bro. Like, what are we doing? How has the price of soup skyrocketed that much in 2 years? So, for the first time ever, sorry, I'm loosening my belt. It's a little tight. I realized it looked like I was doing something a little bit more inappropriate, but I don't even know why I'm wearing a belt. Like, I put on a belt earlier because I went out to the grocery store. I wanted to look presentable, but now that I'm sitting at home playing Minecraft, I really don't need a belt. Anyways. Yeah, it was just crazy how a can of soup has gone up like $1.50 in 2 years. And therefore, for the first time ever, I bought the generic brand soup. Like, I never buy generic brand soup. I'll buy generic brand sometimes. Like, I'll buy generic brand ramen or generic brand frozen pizza. Or I'll get, like, the generic brand for simple things, like spices. Instead of buying the fancy McCormick spices, I'll buy the generic brand because it's cheaper. But I've never bought generic brand soup before in my life because I'm very serious about my soup, okay? Obviously. I mean, this is like the 17th time in the last couple months. This is the 1000th time in my life. No, but seriously, like, this is... It's concerning how much I've talked about Italian wedding soup on live stream lately. Like, I really like my soup. And therefore, I don't want lower quality soup. I want the best tasting soup possible. But I could not justify it because that Progresso soup was, like, insanely expensive for one can. And the generic brand was almost half the price. So we bought the generic brand. I haven't tried it yet, obviously, because I just bought it today. But maybe I'll update y'all in a future live stream about how it tasted. And that'll give me an excuse to yet again talk about Italian wedding soup on camera. Time to clip your inappropriateness. Yeah. No, literally, I had to unfasten my belt. It's now just, like, unbuckled because it was digging into my fucking stomach. I also hate wearing a belt at work. It's so annoying. Speaking of, I have to work open to close tomorrow. I'm gonna be working like a 13-hour shift. Actually, that is a very good point. I have to work a 13-hour shift tomorrow. I should probably end the live stream soon. Yeah. We might end the stream here soon, boys. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I have to get up at 6 in the morning, and it's almost 1 in the morning. So at this point, we're getting like 5 hours of sleep. However, we'll keep playing until, at the very least, the next time we have to sleep. And then once we go to bed in-game, I'll go to bed in real life. I'll be so honest, I got a little distracted with the time. I just lost track of time. I wasn't expecting to be live for this long either. Like, this is going to be a very short stream where I just play for a little bit and then hop off. But I've been really enjoying the conversation, so I definitely got distracted. Plus, this whole, like, Minecraft Farlands playthrough is kind of the perfect game for a shorter live stream. Like, this is the perfect game to play for a short 1 hour live stream. And yet this one kind of turned into a 2 hour live stream. Oops. That's okay. That's still technically a short live stream, but considering, you know, it's 1 in the morning, I think that's okay. Anyways. Hollow Man, what is your name on Steam again? Is it just Hollow Man? See, the reason I ask is I feel like I never see you online. So I'm asking if like your name is something else, and maybe I just don't recognize your name when you're online. Because then, if I figure out what your name is, I can nickname you to actually recognize you when you're online. I've been trying to nickname more of my friends on Steam, because like some of my friends will just change their name on Steam to something completely random, and then I won't know who they are. Like one of my coworkers, they changed their name on Steam to Cheese, and then their profile picture was just a picture of cheese, and I had no clue who they were. I was so confused, but now I have them nicknamed at least, so I don't get confused again. Partner just got home, so I'm gonna lurk for a bit. Catch up with him. No worries. If you didn't mute me, though, I'd love to know what your Steam name is. I would really love to know what that Steam name is, so I can nickname you. Because... oh, it is just Hollow Man. Huh. Maybe I just never see you online the same times I'm online. We just aren't online a lot at the same time. That's fine. Thank you for letting me know, though. That saves me a lot of worry. Because I knew we were friends on Steam. I just never, I never really saw you. Anyways, we're winding down this stream here. The sun is setting on the horizon. Once we go to bed, we'll head out. But this has been a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying this Minecraft Farland series on my Twitch and TikTok. Because, like, obviously, it's going to take thousands of hours. And probably years of my life. But it's like something fun to play in the background, especially like when I don't really know what I want to stream that day. Or, better yet, it's the perfect game, as I was saying earlier, for a short stream, like tonight. So, if I don't have a lot of time to stream, or I don't know what to stream, we can just play this. And we'll slowly be working towards our goal of finding the Minecraft Farlands. Yeah, I'm just kind of vibing. Living my best life out here. We need to find more sheep eventually. But otherwise, I think my inventory has finally reached a conclusion. I'm happy with this inventory loadout. I don't think we'll be changing it anytime soon unless we find like a new item. Something rare or random from a chest. But otherwise, this is probably going to be our inventory loadout for the rest of time. Watch, I'm going to say that and then change it up again next stream. Just out of boredom. Alright. Let's make it to that tree over there. A little lone tree on the peninsula. Want to make it to that tree, and then we'll put our bed down and sleep underneath the tree. And that's how we'll end this stream. It'll be nice and peaceful, calming. Anyways. Oh, wait. I need another dirt block if I want to actually put my bed here. Okay. I don't think we could put our bed right here. We would probably suffocate. Awesome. While we're waiting for the sun to go down, we'll craft a new bed for tomorrow. Phenomenal. And by tomorrow, I mean whenever we stream this next. And now, with the sun setting on the horizon, we're going to end this live stream. Thank you to everyone who showed up, though. I really appreciate it. It was fun. It was a good conversation. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night. I'm gonna go get some rest myself, because I have to work 13 hours tomorrow and wake up at 6 in the morning. So, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful evening. Get some rest, everyone. I'll see y'all later. Peace.